Hi, I'm Katie. Today I'm going to talk about traveling with an infant or a toddler, specifically on a plane. I've traveled 3 times with my son Jack, once when he was 3 months old, once when he was 11 months old, and then once when he was 16 months old. I do have to say 3 months was the easiest for sure, but I just have found some hacks along the way and from doing research to figure out the easiest way to travel with an infant or toddler. I did a lap baby all 3 times. I definitely don't regret it. I think purchasing a $300 plus airline seat for him would have been pointless because he was on my lap anyways. So more often than not, I hear people say just get the lap baby and kind of suffer through it. My son would never sit in a car seat with me right next to him, so it just didn't make any sense. I would say just do a lap. You might as well save the money, but some people like the car seat. You just have to make sure that the car seat is within the guidelines of the airline, because they do have to, it has to be like a certified and approved car seat for them to let you clip it in. One thing that we did the second and third time around is that I had my husband, we were parking at the airport, I had my husband drop me off with the baby. I kind of shimmied my way over to the check-in and checked all of our stuff, checked the stroller, got the baby in the front pack, and then it was just me, the baby, and a diaper bag. And then my husband parked the car and came and met us with his carry-on or personal item. I would say that made it way smoother than having to walk through the parking lot, get on a shuttle with multiple suitcases, the stroller, the baby, etc. So if you can just get dropped off at the gate, even if it's a little bit to get everything by yourself to the check-in, I still think it was way easier to do that. As far as packing goes, some of this might be obvious. However, when I first was going to fly, I had no idea what I was supposed to do with car seat, stroller, crib, etc. We were fortunate enough, all 3 times we were traveling, we were going to my in-laws, so they already had a crib or things like that, a washing machine so we could pack less clothing. Pretty sure every airline lets you check a stroller and a car seat for free. I would recommend getting a car seat bag because your car seat will most likely get damaged. I do also recommend getting either a bag for your stroller, or when you're checking your stroller, ask for a clear plastic bag. The first time we flew, we didn't put it in a bag, and we ended up coming back with a piece of the stroller missing. So I wish I would have at least put it in the bag so it was together so I could put it back together. As far as a car seat bag goes, we don't have anything super heavy duty, not like a hard shell to protect it, but I do have to say the cloth bag we had worked really well. Our car seats never ended up damaged, and the bag actually did a little bit, so I was really grateful that I decided to go with a bag. Now, in my experience, with the car seat bag, there's always a little extra room on the car seat itself, so I always use that space for jackets, sneakers, boots, extra really heavy things that you want to take with you, but you don't want to either carry on the plane with you or have to find a space in your suitcase. I'm not saying you're supposed to do this. I did try to look it up on the TSA website. They never said anything against it. Common sense leads me to believe you're not technically supposed to do it, but I've watched TSA go through my bag and check it and put a slip saying it's approved. So I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying that it's worked for me and it really helps save on space. I can bring my heavy duty jacket and not have to carry it on the plane with a baby or pack it in my suitcase. I highly recommend checking a bag, even if it costs extra. I would say packing less in 2 carry-ons and putting them into one big suitcase that we can check has helped so much. The less that we have trying to carry around a toddler or an infant with extra luggage, it just makes the whole thing, I think, in my opinion, way smoother. So as far as an infant goes, getting around the airport, I would just try to fit everything into one large suitcase, check it. I would carry the infant around in a front pack. You are allowed to have them on the plane. You have to have them unstrapped because they're not technically, I think, within guidelines to use a front pack on the plane, but it just makes moving around a lot easier. Once my son was 16 months old, though, we did use the stroller because he was just a little bit too big to walk around in the carry-on comfortably. So I don't regret using the stroller, but if you have an infant, I would just put them in the front pack unless you're purchasing a seat. But if they're just going to be a lap infant, definitely do front pack. Don't bother with the stroller because it's just extra things to carry. If you get the luxury of picking your seat, I recommend picking a seat away from the aisle. For an infant, like a newborn, where you know you're going to be changing their diaper every hour, I would say maybe the aisle seat is worth it. However, I just liked being on the window because, first of all, any mobile baby, that feeling of they can't get out into the aisle was comforting for me, because I think if my son was on the aisle, he would have thought, oh, there's a hallway to run down. So it was very helpful for me to sit in a window seat, especially with like a stranger next to me, because he didn't feel like he could escape. So for a mobile baby, that was extremely helpful. If you are breastfeeding, honestly, biggest tip is to nurse on the plane. So whenever a baby takes off and lands, they should be sucking, whether that be the breast, whether it be a bottle, or whether it be a binky. It helps regulate their ears. So they don't know how to pop their ears themselves like an adult can. So if they're just sucking, it usually avoids the whole issue altogether. Beyond that, it also was helpful to keep him asleep, keep him calm. Everyone said that he was a great baby. He's not necessarily a great baby. He was just very content nursing the whole time. I let him nurse as much as he wanted. And honestly, that kept him preoccupied or sleeping the majority of the flight. And it was my saving grace. So if you are still nursing, don't hold back, just do it. You are allowed to nurse upon landing and takeoff. As long as you have your seat buckled and the baby is in your lap, you can do whatever you want. So yes, nurse on landing and takeoff. It's very helpful and keeps your baby calm. My 3-month-old was definitely the easiest to fly with. I just nursed him. He slept most of the time, and preoccupying him wasn't too difficult. When he was 11 months old, it was a little more difficult. Kind of same scenario. I would nurse him. He slept most of the time. But then when he woke up, he really wanted to be on the go. Food was our saving grace in that case. We just brought Puffs, Cheerios, a water bottle. I'm not sure about the regulations on packing food. I packed open containers of Puffs, and it was totally fine. So I think the rules are only against open liquids. In that case, we brought his water bottle empty and then filled it after we got past TSA. After he was done eating and really wanted to get on the go, we just had a few new toys and trinkets, things that he normally might not play with that he always really wants to. Like, for example, my husband has a hat. He's obsessed with it, and he doesn't always get to play with it. On the plane, he did get to play with it. So that definitely kept him occupied for a while. If he wants to click the button on my phone a million times, I was okay with it as long as he was happy. So I feel like an airplane definitely is a situation where you can just forgive yourself and give the baby what they want within reason. So if you just pick up tiny little toys from the dollar store, brand new things that are exciting and new, that usually will occupy them a little bit longer than maybe their favorite toy. Our last resort was the phone. We have headphones that aren't the earbuds, they're the big ones that go over your ears. We pre-downloaded movies from Netflix, and I think it was the last 20 minutes of the plane ride, he was really cranky, so we just popped on the headphones, put in a movie that was pre-downloaded, and he doesn't have, or at least at the time when he was 16 months old, the attention span to sit and watch a whole movie, but it was just that last 20 minutes that we needed. And so the last resort was a movie on the phone, and it worked. I hope that you found these tips and tricks helpful. If you have any tips and tricks with flying with an almost 2-year-old, I'm pretty sure that'll be our next flight. Please leave a comment below. Or if you have tips on flying with multiple children, I would be doing that eventually. I'd like all the advice I can get.